What's up guys, Phoenix here, and we're back with another video. This time we're going to be looking across 2020 at my favourite games from the year, so let's check it out. Okay, so first up we've got Minecraft Dungeons, and yes, I know I'm not a child, but Minecraft Dungeons can best be described as Minecraft meets Diablo, and while it doesn't have the depth of the Blizzard classic, it does have a certain charm to it that makes it enjoyable for all ages. It was released in May of 2020 and developed by the original creators of Minecraft. It's got a fairly short story, and its procedural generation was lacking in places, but I had a lot of fun playing it, especially with my daughter. And it's definitely a game worth picking up if you plan on playing with friends, as it does lose some of its appeal if you're flying solo. Next we've got Empire of Synth. It's a turn-based strategy role-playing game by Romero Games. It was released in December 2020, and you choose a Prohibition-era mob boss to play as you build your criminal empire by taking over enemy territories and building businesses. There's a level of depth to it that I enjoyed, and a lot of entertainment to be had. It's definitely a game for those who like this genre like myself, but if you're unfamiliar with this type of game, the learning curve might put you off. At number 8 we've got Ori and the Will of the Wisps. It was a direct sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest and was released back in March of 2020. It's a cute platforming game with a stunning art style. As a sequel, it did everything that a sequel is supposed to do, expanding on the previous game, enhancing the mechanics and improving on it in almost every way. There were some small issues upon release, but these were patched out quickly, making the game well polished and a hell of a lot of fun. Next we've got Ubisoft's first entry into the list, and that's Watch Dogs Legion. It's the third in the Watch Dogs franchise and released in late October 2020. The story focuses on DedSec, a hacker group that's been framed for a series of bombings, and they're attempting to regain control of London from a private military organisation. With the introduction of a new character recruitment system and an impressively realised futuristic London to explore, it's a game that's got a lot of character. There's a little repetition with some missions, but it's often negated by the voice acting during those missions, which can be both comedic and emotive depending on which of the recruits you're playing as at the time. At number 6 we've got Resident Evil 3, which was released in April 2020 and is a complete overhaul of Resident Evil Nemesis from 1999. You play as Jill Valentine, a survivor of the Raccoon City Police Department, as she attempts to find a way out of the city with a powerful bioweapon hot on her heels. This game picks up where Resident Evil 2 Remake left off, and the gameplay is superb. It was a little short, but the original could be completed in under 3 hours, so this stays faithful to that formula. Capcom showed here how remakes should be done, and it's definitely a game that's not for the faint of heart or anyone who doesn't like the sight of blood. It's literally everywhere. There's a perfect balance between puzzles and action sequences, and for fans of the series it's definitely a must-have. Ubisoft enters the list again, this time with Immortals Phoenix Rising. It's an open world action RPG set in ancient Greece. It released in December 2020, and the thing that got me about this game was the humorous storytelling. It's a cartoonish, colourful and vibrant world with plenty of activities to keep you entertained, and has been likened to games such as Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Fortnite and even Pokemon in its art style. The combat's fun and the game's nicely polished. It's clearly aimed at younger players, but I found it to be a charming and entertaining addition to my collection. As a fan of both turn-based games like XCOM and the Gears of War series, it's no surprise that Gears Tactics made it onto my list. Gears Tactics is like a perfect hybrid of the two. Released for Xbox on the same day as the new consoles launched in November, Splash Damage took everything that made Gears great and combined it with fluid turn-based gameplay. With a wealth of customization options and an impressive upgrade system, Gears Tactics was everything I hoped it would be, and more. The story fits perfectly into the Gears world and the difficulty is spot on. The game was also nominated at the Game Awards 2020, and it's tough to find anything negative to say about this one. Next on the list at number 3 we've got Call of Duty Warzone. Now I've been a fan of Call of Duty since its first instalment back in 2003, and while the series itself has had its low points, let's not talk about ghosts, the games have been returning to form more recently with boots on the ground gameplay that we all love. With Modern Warfare being fantastic, Infinity Ward and Raven Software took that formula and applied it to large-scale Battle Royale that was released free-to-play back in March. There's been numerous updates and different game modes introduced since release, and it continues to improve as time goes on. With over 85 million players worldwide and 2 nominations at the Game Awards, Warzone is one of the best multiplayer experiences out there, surpassing the more recent Black Ops Cold War and making it to 3rd in this list. Now this might ruffle a few feathers and cause some controversy, not like the game hasn't had enough of that anyway, but Cyberpunk 2077 takes 2nd place on my list. Granted, if I was playing on the Xbox One or PlayStation 4, it might have made it onto a worst of 2020 list, but having experienced the game on the Series X, I can honestly say that I enjoyed every second. The game was finally released in December after numerous delays, and was met with mixed feelings. For For me, the graphics were amazing, the storyline was surprisingly emotional, and there was so much to do and see I couldn't help but admire the ambition of CD Projekt Red. It's a shame that last gen players couldn't experience it the way I did, and the developers should rightly have to answer for that and take steps to fix the many performance issues it's had on those consoles. But while the game has split the community straight down the middle, I can't deny the fact that it's an incredible game on the current generation, and one that I personally thoroughly enjoy. Now for my favourite game of 2020, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. In my opinion, every sequel in the gaming world should improve on its predecessor, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla did just that. The game was an amazing entry in the series and gave us darker storytelling and a wonderfully realised world to explore. You truly become a Viking as you forge alliances throughout England, settling your clan and war with whoever dares stand against you. The world really feels alive and there's so much to do it's easy to bury hours into it without realising it. Granted, sometimes it's easy to forget it's an Assassin's Creed game with its dark tones and lack of white robes, but that's a minor issue because everything else is spot on. From the music to the sound effects, from the wildlife to the locations, it really feels like you're back in the Dark Ages. Nothing feels out of place and the whole game is nicely polished, bar a few early bugs that were patched very quickly. Whether you're a fan of the series or new to it, Assassin's Creed Valhalla should be on your list, and with DLC inbound across 2021, it's only going to get bigger and better. Hats off to Ubisoft for not only putting out my top game of 2020, but also managing to get 3 of their games onto my list. Well played. Well, that's all for my favourite games of 2020. I hope you all enjoyed it. Do you agree or disagree? Is there anything I've missed that you think should have made it onto my list? Let me know down in the comments below and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a video.